Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood. Giving all praises to Yahweh Shem Yahushua B'Shem Rakakwadash. I'm going to go into some of these precepts, and then I'm going to read from this article. Anyway, it says, the title is from Habakkuk 2 verse 12. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establisheth a city by iniquity. And this is what you people did pretty much to the whole planet Earth. Anyway, jumping up to, you can damn near read the whole chapter of Habakkuk, the second chapter, because the first couple of verses speaks about the prophecies coming to pass, and that you don't have to wait, for it shall not tarry, it shall surely come. I mean, I may go back and go through more of this particular chapter. Anyway, I'm just pulling out a few precepts, because what I did was I put in woe to him that, and these precepts came up. Habakkuk 2 verse 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him? The him is talking about the wicked one. And it's not talking about the spiritual demon Satan. It's talking about the physical counterpart of Satan, which we all know who he is. And a taunting proverb against him. A parable and a taunting proverb is a protest. So not all these, a lot of these nations, and that's what's happening right now through this machination. And I'm going to say a few words on the machination. I did a video, and part of the video was my friend died. That was part of the title of the video. And I said in the video, he took 3 of those things. And before that, I'm talking about maybe a year and a half ago, and I saw him, he was in good health. But after he took those things, 3 of them, you know, he complied because they talked him into it. And a young man, my age. And the 3rd one he took, he felt like he was going to, you know, transition. And then I found, and then about a week later he actually did. He was walking, talking, you know, but feeling messed up on the inside. Feeling like he was going to, you know, kick the bucket, so to speak. And sure enough, you know, I heard from his mother that he was missing, and then he transitioned. Well, he's in the spirit world, so he, you know, he didn't have anything to worry about. So I told my woman that, and she told me that someone in her family, a family friend, had whose parents, both parents, took, I believe it was 3 vaccinations, and they both transitioned within a month of each other, the mother and the father. They're saying in reports that people that are going to the boom boom room, you know what I mean by that, are people that received the vaccination. But they're blaming it on the ones that did not accept the vaccination. Anyway, let me go back into these precepts. Habakkuk 2 verse 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. Your boundary is Petra. As soon as you stepped out of Petra, you became a thief. As soon as you took over another land, you became a thief. And when you take something from someone else, they're going to resist you, and you have to kill them. See, you devils have a lot to pay for, man. And calling on your Renaissance Jesus is not going to save you, man. That's something that you made up. Your Renaissance Jesus. That's why you had to use a term called iconoclasm, to destroy icons, which are images. You know, all throughout Europe, you had icons, frescoes and mosaics, which were all so-called people of color. And when these people of color, which are Israelites, were conquered, what did you do? You had to set up a thing called the Renaissance, which the word Renaissance means rebirth. You came back to life. Revelation chapter 20. And so you had to deceive the world by taking down as many icons or images, frescoes and mosaics, and put up or repaint them, chop the noses off, whatever you did, to establish your dominance on the planet by a thing called hegemony. Look that word up. So you did all these things. You are the guilty party. And now we are experiencing a change of worlds. Anyway, let me read on. Habakkuk 2 verse 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, how long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Now that word clay, you have to know Hebrew now. That word clay is the word Hebrew word ibatyat, which means depth or heavy depth. If you go to the world depth clock, or the US depth clock, the depth is almost 30 trillion. 30 trillion. I believe during the beginning of the ending of the Obama administration, going into the Trump administration, to this present day, it went up, I believe, 15 trillion. 15 trillion. But if you understand the depth clock, the depth is really over 200 trillion. You can't pay the 28 or 30 trillion. And you damn sure can't pay the 200 trillion. That's why they're establishing a global reset. And these other Israelite camps don't understand it. They don't understand it, so they can't explain it. That's why they get stuck on Apocalyptos 13. The MOTB. Habakkuk 2 verse 9. Woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Because they have a plan, the super rich. That's why you have Bezos has a space program. Elon Musk, what's this other guy from England, a Virgin Atlantic guy? Somebody put his name down. His name escapes me at this point. And these guys are super rich, billionaires, multi-billionaires that have a program to get out of here, to go into outer space, because they know what's coming on the earth. It says, woe to him that covereth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. The power of evil is the Most High. Let me look up the word covetousness or covetous. Batazai. Ooh, this is a cut. Where you want me to start cutting? To cut off, break off, gain by unrighteous violence. Gain by, you became rich by or through unrighteous violence. Get finished. Be covetous. Be greedy. Scriptures say they can never have enough. To cut off, to stop, to gain wrongfully or by violence. They always say the greatest military on the planet is here in the good old US of A. To cut off, sever, to finish, complete, accomplish, to violently make gain of. There's a thing called gain of function. Psalms 10 verse 3. For the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blesseth the covetous, whom the Lord abhorreth. Proverbs 1 verse 19. So are the ways of everyone that is greedy of gain, which taketh away the life of the owners thereof. You got a lot to pay for. Habakkuk 2 verse 9. Woe to him that covereth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Verse. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establisheth a city by iniquity. And that's what you did. How did you get this place? North, Central, and South America. it was built and established upon blood. Proverbs 22 verse 28, remove not the ancient landmarks which thy fathers have set. Proverbs 23 verse 10, remove not the old landmark, and enter not into the fields of the fatherless. Numbers 36 verse 7, so shall not the inheritance of the children of Israel remove from tribe to tribe. For every one of the children of Israel shall keep himself to the inheritance of the tribe of his father. Now that goes into a doctrine of, if you are a Judite and you marry a Ephraimite, and enough Judite men that get with Ephraimite women, you can take that whole land that was slated for Ephraim. So the daughters of that tribe have land rights as well, and that's part of the law. The law is important. You got these Christians saying, "Oh, the law is done away with. Just love your neighbor. That's it." Well, then what does love mean? You know. There has to be laws that establish, you know, what you call love. If you love somebody, if you love your children, you're going to feed them. You're going to take care of them. See, the Christians don't have the answers. We have the answers. Deuteronomy 19 verse 14, thou shalt not remove thy neighbor's landmark. And this is what you Edomites did, which they of old time have set in thine inheritance. Inheritance is something that you pass down to your children. And mainly it's talking about land, which thou shalt inherit in the land that Yahweh, thy power, giveth thee to possess it. There's a quick article. I'll breeze through it. If I remember, I'll leave the link in the description box. It says, Bishop denounces Doctrine of Discovery used to justify abuse of indigenous people and suggests Pope Francis do the same. So you have these bishops, and this guy's a bishop in the RCC that, you know, he's telling the truth. Okay, let me read this to you. In this Thursday, October 25th, 2018 photo, Brandon Nez displays his flag at near his jewelry stand in Monument Valley, Utah, where tourists stand the highway to recreate a famous running scene from the movie Forrest Gump. It says the Catholic Bishop of Syracuse, New York, is speaking out against the Doctrine of Discovery and revealing plans to ask Pope Francis to repudiate theological teachings used for centuries to justify, make it right. You can't justify it. When you steal something, you can't justify it. You can't make it right. The subjugation of indigenous peoples. The indigenous people is the kingdom of Israel, the northern kingdom. In the tribe of Gad, tribe of Reuben, and the rest of the tribes. Asher, Issachar, In an interview with Religion News Service on Wednesday, June 30th, Bishop Douglas J. Lucia explained he is exploring a possible meeting with the Holy See. The Holy See represents the RCC, to discuss a series of 15th century papal bulls or decrees used by European Christians, the Renaissance people, to rationalize, make sense of colonizing or justify colonizing indigenous people and their land. Give me a second here. Okay, let me go to Doctrine of Discovery. You know, Esau's power is in his words. Bear me for a minute. Where the hell? Let me do it. Let me try it this way. Doctrine of Discovery. All right, let's try this. Let's see what this says. It's Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus and the Doctrine of Discovery, 5 Things to Know. The Doctrine of Discovery was used to European monarchies beginning in the mid 15th century as a means of legitimizing the colonization of lands outside of Europe. Legitimize, to make it right. It was issued in 1493, the year after Cristobal Colon, that's his real actual name, not Christopher Columbus, arrived on the shores of what is now known as North America. The Doctrine of Discovery continues to impact indigenous peoples throughout the world. I told you earlier to look up the word hegemony. The intent of the Doctrine of Discovery provided a framework for Christian explorers in the name of their sovereign to lay claim to territories uninhabited by Christians. If the lands were vacant, then they could be defined as discovered and a sovereignty claimed. Well, the lands were not vacant. You had the tribes here. Within the framework of the doctrine, indigenous people, Israelites, the Northern Kingdom, and the Americas were considered non-human. You dehumanized them. The providing theory of the time was that indigenous people, because they were non-Christians, and this is what this guy's doing, vocab. He's coming around us to try to Christianize us. And if we don't become Christianized, he demonizes us. You had individual in a red truck plowed through a Christmas celebration, and then they finally showed the face of the guy, and he has a full beard. So what do you think they're going to go with that? Don't be surprised if they say, oh, he was a BHI. You know, the demonization. They're demonizing the unvaccinated. That's what they do. You don't comply, they're going to kill you. If you don't comply, you're going to die. It says the presiding theory of the time was that indigenous peoples, because they were non-Christians, and if you call yourself an Israelite, you are a non-Christian, were not human, and therefore, and that's why you men that listen to us, all of you supposed to be raised in hell, man. All of you supposed to be raised in hell. There's supposed to be 1,000,001 camps out there. You know, we're not looking for, I said this years ago, I said we're not looking for cheerleaders, man. The Most High is not looking for cheerleaders. The Most High is looking for teachers. You know, grow a fucking pair, get a backbone, become a man. There should be non-stop videos out there, man. When Christopher Columbus arrived in 1492, this is the fulfillment of Revelation, the 20th chapter, it is estimated that the Americas were actually occupied by 100 million indigenous people. The Most High said from the beginning, be fruitful and multiply, which is about 1/5 of the human race at that time, who had been living their traditional lives on the land since time immemorial. But because they were not Christians, as Esau defines it, the land was deemed terra nullius. I want to look that up. I know terra means earth, ground, whatever you want to call it. Bear with me for a minute. Terra nullius is a Latin term meaning land belonging to no one. There's nobody there. What are these people running? No, those are not people. Those are ghosts. Okay, British colonization and subsequent Australian land laws were established on the claim that Australia was terra nullius, land belonging to no one, justifying acquisition by British occupation without territory or payment, or without treaty or payment, excuse me. And that's what they did, the Doctrine of Discovery. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.